So they all went fishing. They fished all night. Done like a lot of us has done before. Never caught nothing. Never caught nothing. Zero. Well, it was getting daylight. Apparently it wasn't good daylight. And Peter, no doubt, had all this ringing in his head. This last commandment that I give unto you is that you love one another the way I've loved you. And him thinking about how I've told my buddy that I'll do for him anything, I'll stick with him through thick and thin. I'll do it all. And here I have, I've come up short. I've even cussed and denied I knowed him, knew his name. How ashamed do you think that he could be? He was ashamed. Well, they heard somebody holler at them. They was out there fishing, hadn't caught nothing. He said, boys, cast your net over on the other side. And he said, you can catch a bunch of fish. So they obeyed him. I believe they caught 153, wasn't it? Great big fish. So many they couldn't raise them up, had to drag them in to the shore. John told Peter, he said, that's the Lord's voice. You know what Peter done? He was a pretty bold character. He got his coat and put it on immediately because he was naked. He didn't want his Lord to see him that way. He didn't care about the rest of them, but he had a lot of hurt in him about the way he'd done his Lord already. But when John told him as his Lord, he got that coat and he pulled it down and jumped in the water. And they went to dragging that net in, and they seen some coals there on the fire. And Jesus was standing there, and he had them some fish and bread on it, and had them some breakfast fixed. Wasn't that pretty cool? Had them the breakfast fixed, and this is the part I'm getting to. Maybe let's just let me turn over and read it. To St. John's Gospel. Where am I going, Brenda? Chapter 21 or 2? Let's start about verse 12. Jesus said unto them, come and dine. And none of the disciples durst ask him, who art thou? In other words, because they knowed that it was the Lord. They knowed it was him. And they give a hint in here. Apparently it wasn't daylight, was it? Because they seen them coals there and heard his voice. But John, the way it referred to him in here, the disciple that Jesus loved, he noticed his voice. And they said, come and dine. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land. Well, I'm going back. 13. Jesus then cometh and taketh bread and giveth them, and fish likewise. He had their breakfast already fixed for them. This is now the third time that Jesus showed himself to his disciples after that he was risen from the dead. So when they had dined, Jesus said to Simon Peter. See, Simon Peter is ashamed awful. You know how it would be if you was denied him and they killed him. And he watched in the background and seen them do all them bad things to him and beat him. And Peter, that kept ringing in his ears about how that I'll stick with you and you don't have to worry about me. I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. You know good and well Peter was dreading that awful on this earth. And he said, so when they had dined, Jesus said to Simon Peter, after they got done eating, Jesus said, Peter, or Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? Now, I want you to listen to this. There was what, 7 more or 6 more there with him of the disciples? And Jesus said, Peter, do you love me more than the rest of these? Now Peter wasn't being no hypocrite here. He knowed that Jesus had him dead to rights. He knowed it. And Peter said to him, yeah. If you look that up in the Greek, that means with a very heavy affirmative clause, yes, you know I love you more than they. But the thing about it is this is what the catcher is. Love us, and now I hope you can get a hold of this. When he said, Peter, love us thou me more than these, that word love us there is agape. Agape. And Peter said unto him, yeah, Lord, thou knowest I love thee. And he said unto Peter, feed my sheep, or feed my lambs. But when Peter told him that, yeah, Lord, you know I love you, that wasn't agape. It was phileo. In other words, Jesus, you know that you're my buddy, and I care a lot for you. I'm emotionally attached to you, and you're my friend.